It is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, with the Ames Board of Trustee meeting. Before we get started, we do have a trustee online, and I just want to check if you are there, Trustee O'Hare. I got the thumbs up. He is on as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Great, thank you. I'm sure everybody's been able to look at the agenda, and so I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda. I so move. Thank you. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Thank you. We have a consent agenda, and I will go through the items. So everybody is aware, we have the minutes of the October 9th, 2024 District Board meeting. Revised procedure 11-01, trustee elections. C, revised policy 12, board officer elections and responsibilities. D, revised policy 13, trustee vacancies. And E, revised policy 607, associated students of Ames Community College. With that, if there's any questions, if not, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thanks, Trustee O'Hare. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are at public comment, and I am informed we do not have any public comments today. So we'll jump right into our presentation from guests and representatives to the board. First up is our excellent at Ames. I believe Shannon McCaslin, or you, Kelly? Okay. Kelly Jackson will be presenting our excellence at Ames.
Is that live? I guess I'm so short. Good afternoon, board and audience. It's always fun to examine our community. Keep your eyes open and your ears open and hear and learn who our alumni are, because we don't always get that opportunity to see them from day one to day 492 or 8,000 and whatever that many years later. So as I'm out in the community, I grab names as soon as I hear someone has said they've gone to Ames. And sometimes it's a surprise and other times it's not. So to me, it was a surprise. But as I have learned more about today's speaker, it isn't really a surprise. Terry Pappas is going to present her story today. You may know her. She is a 1980 alum. She had an emphasis in elementary education. So for any of you who are in education, you've seen her. You know her. She's everywhere. She's heavily involved with School District 6, with the DREAM team. She has served on the D6 Board of Education. And as I said, she's omnipresent. So please welcome Terry Pappas to the stage.
Well, thank you, Kelly. So it seems strange to be standing here actually, but yes, I did attend Ames and did graduate from Ames with an AA degree, but I'll tell you a little bit of how that happened. I moved to Greeley in 1966. I was 13 years old with a newly divorced mom. We moved here, my little brother and I and my mom, and she had a dream of being a teacher. And so she enrolled at at UNC, got accepted, but without any financial support. That meant she had to work 3 jobs. So that meant that my brother and I spent a significant amount of time alone. So needless to say, my junior high and high school years were not similar to some of you maybe. I I really there may have been access for me to have access to resources and opportunities and a community of support. But if there was, I was not aware of it. In fact, I spent a lot of time not at school, and no one really cared or talked to me about that. And the first time I had a real conversation with my counselor was when he called me in and said, "Hey, you didn't do very well on your college entrance exam, but I notice that you are really good at typing and really good at shorthand. So I suggest you go and be a secretary." Well, I hadn't really given a lot of thought about going to college or not going to college. I was just living my life as it was. So I continued my senior year, graduated in May with my other classmates. But immediately I was 17 years old, got on a bus, went to Kansas City to be with my boyfriend who had dropped out of high school earlier that year. Well, we spent a year there, and I actually did get to practice those skills. I was an catalog order input at Montgomery Ward's, which was so fulfilling, sitting in the basement putting in catalog orders. So a year later, we moved back to Greeley, and fast forward about 7 years later, I also was divorced with 2 children. At the time, I was taking care of a couple kids, friends' kids. So I thought, well, I'll just enroll in a class at Ames and I'll just think about getting an early childhood education certificate. So I did. I came to Ames, very scary, enrolled in early childhood education. And I also enrolled in a Spanish class because I felt like that would be important. But what happened when I got to Ames is for the first time in an educational setting, I realized what it meant to have a community of support. I realized what it meant to have resources. I realized what it meant to have relationships. And I hadn't been there very long when my advisor said, "Hey, have you ever thought about getting your AA degree and being a teacher?" I said, "Well, maybe." So after some thought, I decided, yes, I would do that. So sometime between the time I entered Ames and before I got my AA degree, another UNC professor came and approached me and some of my other non-traditional students and asked if we would be interested in being a part of a cohort, a bilingual elementary education cohort. And when we transferred to UNC, much of that work of transferring to UNC would be done for us, which was great because that also was very scary and challenging. And the best part is our tuition, books, everything was fully funded. We did not pay anything to get our elementary ed bilingual education degrees. So I'm going to tell you the next part of my story just because I think it's important for me anyway to realize that without that advisor approaching me, my life would have been significantly different. So I graduated with my degree from UNC, started teaching at Billy Martinez, spent many years at Billy Martinez, got my master's in education, got my principal license, got an ESL endorsement, spent many, many years, almost 30 years in School District 6. And after retirement, I also was an adjunct professor at UNC and worked for the Colorado Department of Education. All of those things, none of those things would have happened for me without this organization, this school, this community for me. So, fast forward to 2000 or back forward, I don't know, to 2014, and I became a member of the Greeley Dream Team Board of Directors. And then in 2015, was elected to be on the District 6 Board of Education. Well, in those 10 years, I have had multiple opportunities to interact with young people and understand how important Ames is to our young people in our communities. The program certificates, the early college academy, just the dream, just the knowing that when they leave school, they have Ames. Everybody knows they have Ames, which is for me just fabulous. I also, as a Dream Team director, have interviewed over hundreds of students and read hundreds of essays of students that want the Dream Team scholarship. These stories are heartbreaking, honestly, sometimes. Many stories are similar to mine. Some are much harder than mine. But they have that, in their essay, they just have that knowing that they can do this, and there's a place for them. And many of them have a goal of coming to Ames and getting their A degree or getting a certificate. Some of them choose to go to other universities. But at our Dream Team director meetings, we hear missional moments. And some of our students don't make it at those universities. So they come back to Ames and they regroup and they figure out something else for their life. So I think that is just powerful. Powerful to them, powerful for us, powerful for our entire community. And most recently, I don't know, it's not just young people that benefit from Ames, which I hadn't really thought about until about 3 years ago. And one of my very good friends, also a retired educator, she lost her husband of many years. It was heartbreaking for her. He passed away unexpectedly. And as she was trying to figure out her life, what she was going to do, she decided to take a pottery class at Ames, which, okay, I wouldn't take a pottery class, but for her, it was important. And so she took her pottery class the first semester. 3 years later, she's still taking pottery classes every semester. She is taking Tai Chi every semester, and she's taken a piano lesson class. I don't know how that works, but she takes piano lessons. Now, what I tell you this is because this decision that she made was a life changer for her. In these 3 years that she's been participating at Ames, she has had classes with former students. She's had classes with people older than her, younger than her, but she has really gained a community of support and access to other opportunities. One of her former students, also one of my former students, dropped out of high school and got her GED at Ames. And now she's currently working as an instructional assistant in the Art Studios program. So I just want you all to know how powerful, I know you know this, but how powerful Ames is to our community, to all of us. And so that's my story. And I thank you so much for listening to my story. And thank you, Kelly, for inviting me.
Sometimes there are gems in the world that you just don't recognize. And today, the opportunity to thank Ms. Pappas is one of those. I had the privilege of working with her for 6 years on the Board of Education. I know, and she had color in her hair when she started working with me, and it's kind of gone the other way. But what I would tell you is that Ms. Pappas is the most passionate person I've ever met about education. And it doesn't matter if you are 6 or 60. It doesn't matter if you're an underserved population. It doesn't matter what side of the street you live on. But when it comes to education, really, there's not another finer person than Ms. Pappas. And I had the privilege of working with her, and the impact that she's had on our community and Evans is profound. And we all need to be very thankful when we have people like her in our communities. So thank you, Ms. Pappas.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Havely. Thank you, Terry, for all you do and for sharing your story. That's great. Okay, on to representatives to the board. Ames Faculty Association, Julia Weingard, and I believe she is on Zoom today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for being on Zoom again. I taught an overload this semester, and the meeting and the schedule didn't quite mix. So I appreciate you all letting me do this twice this semester. Good afternoon, Chair Schock, members of the board, Dr. Rothamer, and colleagues. Once again, it's always a pleasure to be here, and I hope everybody's enjoying this beautiful fall day so far as I begin to talk about the BOT report for November. Now, the BOT report for November is a little small, it's a little short, but I wanted to highlight particularly one of the publications. We're going to be looking at publications and conferences, and I really want to highlight and spend a little bit of time talking about Evan Oakley, professor of English, who was profiled in the September issue of Teachers and Writers magazine. This article was written by one of Evan's former students, Andy Fogel, who is now an educator. He is a poetry editor and he is also an author. And he had some wonderful things to say about Evan. He says, when I first entered my freshman composition class, the professor told us his name was Evan. He was from Colorado and that he had just graduated in May from the MFA program in poetry. He wrestled in high school and he was also a roofer. When I looked at Evan for the first time, I thought, who is this ruggedly handsome, black-haired, blue-eyed man? Who is this muscular, athletic, working-class poet? Who knew that men could be like this? The most profound result of my time with Evan was when he offered me a different model on how to be a man. Evan was an athlete, he was a laborer, and he was an artist. And in my life, there was really no precedent for those combination of attributes. So when I met Evan in August of 1992, I thought to myself, I'm okay. I can be all of these things. I can be an artist, and I can still be a man. You're the real thing, Evan told Andy, but beware, the poetic power can leave. Honor it and nurture it and slave for it, or the angel will go into the next poet's house. Evan knew when to give me a kick in the rear, and he also knew when to pat me on the back. It's passages like this that led him to inspire me with hope and with insight. Have faith, Evan told me. Act as though you have your vision, and your vision will grow. Your love for your respect and love for yourself will grow as well. It took me a long time to really realize and breathe in what Evan was telling me, because at that time of my life, I didn't quite believe that. Sometimes, this is what Andy says, sometimes I tell my students that at its best, education is a paradox. It makes you dig into yourself as well as reach out to the rest of the world. Over time, my openness with my students tends to build trust. And with that trust, I ask them to take this mindset of paradox even just a little. Maybe it'll broaden and deepen how they read themselves and each other. Maybe it'll sensitize and balance their navigation of every generation's tortuous rivers. Or maybe it will change and charge how they write their own lives, as Evan's example did mine. I just thought that was a beautiful tribute to Evan, especially when he was a beginning teacher back in 1992. Furthermore, Cherise Fleschner, who is a part-time substitute for the Early College Academy, installed an exhibition on her latest body of work. I'm not one to air dirty laundry in public. This was produced at the John Galt Coffee Shop in Greeley, Colorado. And this show included recent Prismacolor drawings, and there was a wonderful reception that was held afterwards. So thank you, Cherise, for these wonderful contributions. Now we're going to move on to the final part of our report today, and that's the conferences. So several English faculty members, including Kendra Griffin, Johanna Sherman, Evan Oakley, Allison Easley, John Reynolds, and Sarah Seifert attended the two-year College English Association's annual conference last month. Now, this conference theme focused on possibilities and potentials that inspire faculty to innovate and question their teaching practices. Sessions covered a wide range of critically important topics such as AI use, alternative assessment strategies, and project-based learning techniques. In addition to attending these various sessions, Ames faculty added their ideas to the mix at this event, where Kendra Griffin and Johanna Sherman co-presented a session titled Rethinking Academic Voice in the Age of AI. And Sarah Seifert presented a session titled From Grading to Growth, Exploring Ungrading Strategies. On a final note, professors of English, Allison Easley, Johanna Sherman, Stacy Johnson, and Leslie Morrison accompanied many students to the Fort Collins book signing of the book Yellowface. Now, the Reed's author talk and book was signing was on October the 27th. And again, this is the best-selling and Nebula award-winning author, R.F. Kuang, who discussed her recent novel, Yellowface. The students who attended are members of the Ames English Honor Society and our Race, Ethnicity, and Culture Literature class. Quite exciting news on the forefront here for our November BOT meeting. I'm just so grateful that I get to work and be among these wonderful faculty that constantly help me inspire me and help motivate me to do the best that I can do. Thank you all so much for listening today. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions for Julie? There are no questions. Thank you, Julia, for taking time.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Too.
Okay, next up for our Ames Staff Association, ASA, David Mott.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chair Schock, trustees, Dr. Rothermer, cabinet, colleagues and friends. Thank you for your time and attention today. So I'm going to be short and brief as well. I first have to say, I promised you 2 months ago, I think, that I was not going to start any more presentations with any 3-digit numbers. But I have to restrain myself because then I saw that Dee's presenting and she has the number in the packet, but promised I wouldn't, so I'm not going to do it. You'll have to figure that out on your own. So, got a couple of event updates. Number one, I just wanted to debrief with y'all a little bit. Our last all staff meeting in November, it was for this month, we hosted it at the Gateway Building on the Windsor campus. I mentioned to you before that was an initiative of the leadership team for this year, is for us to, as much as possible, get out on site onto our satellite campuses. And so far we've been to Fort Lupton and then this last month in Windsor, and it's been a great effort. The feedback we've got has been very positive. I think it was 14 in-person attendees at that meeting. We had, I think it was 7 of us took the ASA party bus from Greeley. So that was a lot of fun. And so I'm looking forward to keeping that up as we progress throughout the rest of the year. Our next all staff meeting for the month of December is going to be Monday, December 16th. So that's we had to shift our scheduling because all of the activities at the end of the academic semester hitting on Fridays in December. So we had to shift that to hopefully accommodate a little bit better with schedules. But we've got our next staff meeting Monday, December 16th, 1 p.m. With that, we're also going to attempt. I know we're trying to remember, it's been at least 5 years, we think, since we've done this, but we're going to try to host an ASA holiday Christmas party social event at that same time. So we'll have our 1 o'clock meeting. Then after that, in the Cornerstone building, we're going to have a holiday gala for staff. So more information coming very soon on that. So next item for me, volunteer opportunity. ASA has been doing this for a number of years. I don't know exactly how many, but we're partnering with the World Food Bank. And I mentioned that in last month, but we do have the date and time finally. So it's this Friday, 15th at 1 p.m., 1 to 4. We're getting a bunch of volunteers over to World Food Bank. I remember right, it was 25 slots were available as of end of day yesterday, where 18 were already filled. So if you're going to sign up, and you haven't signed up yet, you better hurry. Okay, and then last item for me today, I wanted to highlight a Ripple. And this month, there are a bunch of really, really good ones in your packet. So definitely encourage you all to read those. But I wanted to highlight this month, Rosalba Martinez Sharp, who is a senior pathway advisor in this building. And this is a nomination from Lena Sandoval. Rosalba is a dedicated senior advisor, consistently going above and beyond to support the advising department, student advising mentors, and students. Her positive attitude and unwavering commitment create a fun and supportive work environment. It is a great joy working with her. So thanks, Rosalba. Great job. Keep up the good work. And that's it for my presentation. Stand for questions.
Any questions? I think we're good. Thanks, David.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, next up, we have our SGA Student Government Association, Brielle Rummings.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me just fine? Perfect. To move the mic, I'm little. All right. Greetings, everyone on the board, Chair Schock, Dr. Rothmer, cabinet members, and Ames community. I'm honored to be here with you guys today. I have a shorter report today, so let's get started. Student government. Actually, with the help of the Dean of Students, we have updated the ASAC policy 607. So we're trying to more accurately reflect the way that students are represented at the college. And we're really happy that you guys are going to be reviewing that today. Alicia Vitia, our student government vice president of SACE, attended the Rethinking Addiction and Recovery Conference. Some club events for November. Women in Aviation will be participating in the new KFNL terminal grand opening event for the Fort Collins Loveland Airport. And that will be happening, that already happened on the 7th. Ames English Honor Society will host their fall 2024 induction ceremony, which happened on the 11th for the new Sigma Kappa Delta members. For the pantry, the Hunger Free Campus Initiative hosted an in-person cooking demo on the 12th, and it was a pretty big event. It was great to see. The pantry is partnering with the Weld Food Bank again this year to provide Thanksgiving meals to 120 student families. The distribution will begin the week before Thanksgiving. Our campus activity November events, some have started, but we'll have coping skills on the 19th in the student comments. Friendsgiving will be the 20th in the Prairie Lounge on Fort Lupton campus. Resolution Ready is on the 21st in the student commons lobby. And Do You Want to Build a Snowman was on the 11th in the Loveland Lounge. I get the great joy of highlighting our November Club of the Month, our Student Nursing Association, and they're with us here today, so if they can stand. So, Student Nursing Association at Ames connects student nurses with their peers and mentors in the profession and empowers future nurses of our community. Nursing school has a well-deserved reputation for being challenging and requiring complete dedication from its students to be successful. We are not just preparing for careers, we are cultivating the heart and soul of nursing in our community. Student Nursing Association helps us do this. And I actually, if I may, want to ask our students if they can join us in the front. I want you to look at our future nurses. I have a paragraph that was given to me this morning by Sarah that I want to read out. And they wrote this up for all of you. So it says, we just quickly wanted to express again our gratitude for hearing about our Student Nursing Association here at Ames. We're familiar with you all have accomplished as individuals for the betterment of our community, as well as the leadership roles you held in nonprofits, educational committees, and the health systems of Banner and UC Health. So really, it's an honor to be represented to you all as we have aspirations of impacting our community through nursing in different roles. We read about the board's focus right now of creating culture of mutual respect, curiosity, and inclusion. We had a discussion as a group about how these objectives are applicable to us, both as student nurses and peers. Justin, our fundraising chair, is working on developing a team, building opportunities for our students to increase mutual respect and rapport between our nursing cohorts and improve our culture of nursing before we go into the workforce. Sam, our treasurer, has been coordinating more opportunities for us to give back in our community through nonprofits such as the Weld Food Bank and in activity planning for our local nursing homes, which cultivates learning and curiosity about our own community. Sarah, our vice president, attended the HAKU conference and participants in the DEI principles of our program. We'd like to continue to build stronger connections within Ames as an organization and within our community, so please keep us in mind when opportunities of involvement come up in all the great things you guys are doing for our community. Thank you, guys. That's the end of my report.
Thank you,
Do you guys have any further questions?
Trustee Wendell.
I just have a comment. I love how you put your report together. It's a breath of fresh air and your delivery is so welcoming. So, and I appreciate the students coming for us too. So thank you.
Thank you. Part of that is our graphic designer. So she does all the beautiful sections and lays it out very nicely for us.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we have quite a few action items. We'll start off with 7A, our 2025 Board of Trustee meeting and retreat dates. Jerry?
Thank you, Chair Schock. You'll see in your packet a draft calendar for next year's retreats and meetings. I'll go through them briefly here. So you'll note all Board of Trustee meetings are scheduled to start at 1:30 p.m. On the second Wednesday of each month, except for those listed with an asterisk. So that would be the May 7th Board of Trustees meeting. And that's because of commencement. So we don't want to load everything up on 1 week. So that has been shifted to the first week of May. You'll also note the 2 retreat dates move away from that second Wednesday of the month. So January the 14th is the proposed date for the January board retreat, and June 3rd and 4th for the June retreat. No meetings in July. And then wanting to draw your attention to our annual visits to the other campuses. So the April board meeting would be on the Fort Lupton campus on April 9th. The Flight Training Center meeting will be on September the 10th, and the Windsor meeting will be October the 8th. Certainly, if you've had time to look at your calendars and any of these dates don't work, you can certainly amend this before passage as well. But open to any questions or concerns.
Questions, concerns, changes? Do you need an approval for this?
Yes, yes.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I second it.
Thanks, Jean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I think that's all you need, right, Jerry? Great. We have several action items today, and so I'll have Dr. David Ayler join us at the podium, and I will take each one individually for a vote as he discusses them. And so first up under 7B is our new fundamental diesel certificates.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Schock, trustees, Dr. Rothmer, cabinet, and guests, and everyone listening out in Zoom land. So, okay. So the first item that we have today is curriculum for diesel mechanics. And in this proposal, we are looking at creating 4 certificates. And this is part of an existing program that we already have. So there's no cost, no fiscal impact in implementing these. But what we're looking at is 4 stackable certificates that allow students who are in the program to leave the program and come back in at various points and achieve a credential on their way, hopefully, to doing the associate's degree. So we're looking at heavy duty brakes 1, heavy duty brakes 2, electrical fundamentals, and heavy duty HVAC. And students who go through the full program would have these 4 certificates, and in that pathway, they would also earn 2 automotive service excellence certifications, which is the national body that certifies mechanics, and 1 environmental protection agency certificate. So it would be the 4 AIMS certificates, 2 ASE certificates, and 1 EPA certificate. In the packet, we lay out the sequence and what courses constitute which of the certificates. So we have 2 courses for the heavy duty brakes, 3 courses for brakes 2, 2 courses for electrical fundamentals, and 3 courses for heavy duty HVAC. In the way these are laid out, by semester for the full program. The first semester would be 2 of the certificates and 2 courses toward the third certificate. The second semester would be the third course for the third certificate and the fourth certificate. And then there would be 3 more semesters to complete the AAS degree. So these stack in terms of the learning and also in order by the semesters that they're offered. So you would accumulate these as you move through the program. There is an increasing demand for diesel mechanics in the county and in the state level, anticipating an 8% growth over the next 10 years, and in the county, 9% growth. Salary outlook is good. This pays better than comparable areas, state, again, looking at state and county level data. We are working on a partnership with Severance High School to offer courses there during the day, and then courses for post-secondary evenings and weekends. And they're looking at about 80 students that they would like, 80 high school students to participate in the program. And we have a very large waiting list of post-secondary students who would like to take this program. The cost is in your packet. The breaks 1 would be $532 to take 4 credits. Breaks 2, $665 for the 5 credits. Electrical, $532 for 4 credits. And heavy duty HVAC, $665 for 5 credits. If someone takes all 4 of those, that's $2,394 for all 4 certificates. And again, well on the way toward achieving the associate's degree. And at this point, I'll ask for questions.
Any questions?
The administrative recommendation is to approve these 4 certificates.
I would ask for a motion to approve the 4 new certificates that have been developed from existing courses in the Master Automobile Diesel AAS degree program. Thank you.
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, great. We will move on to 7C,
Okay.
the new aircraft maintenance technician AAS degree. I'll let you continue.
Okay. So a while back, we had approved the new airframe and power plant maintenance program. And at that time, we did not have the curricular pieces done. So we're coming back with the proposal here for the Associate of Applied Science degree, and then also 2 certificates that are all related to the A&P program. So there is a large need for all of these skill areas. We have a lot of people in the field who are retiring. There are a lot of open positions. This is aircraft, aviation fields are highly regulated by the federal government. So these programs are all aligned with those regulations. We're expecting that A&P mechanics can earn $80,000 a year in Colorado after graduation. The cost of this program would be about $39,000 for tuition and fees for students going through the program. Looking at a year 1 headcount of 10, year 2, 20, year 3, 35, year 4, 50 students as they move through the program. There would be no cost for developing the curriculum for the program. That cost was built into the program that the director that we hired is developing the curriculum. So that's pre-approved cost. And the cost for the program, in-state tuition would be tuition and fees would be $39,000, and that's $13,540 for tuition, $25,460 for lab fees. And I will stand for questions.
Any questions? Hearing none. I would entertain a motion to approve the new aircraft maintenance technician, Associate of Applied Science degree.
I make a motion to approve the degree program as presented.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We will move to 7D, the new airframe certificate, again with Dr. Ayler.
Okay. This is a subset of the coursework for the AAS degree. And this certificate, some students may come in and not want to pursue the entire AAS degree, and they may just want the airframe certificate portion. And so the feasibility study and a lot of that information is the same as what I just presented for the AAS degree. Numbers are similar for this certificate and the next one that we're also going to look at. As students move through and do the AAS, they would also receive both of these certificates because they are stacked inside the AAS degree. So this is, I guess another way to put it is if somebody just wanted this certificate, they could get it. If they're doing the AAS, they'll also get it because they'll take all of the courses on their way to the other degree. This one is a total of 43 credits out of the total in the AAS degree. And we recommend approval of this certificate.
Any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the new airframe certificate.
I so move to approve the trustee action number 17.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Thanks, Jean. We will move on to 7E, which is the new power plant certificate.
Okay, similar to the airframe certificate, this is a subset of the AAS degree as well. This is 40 credits out of the 70 credits for the AAS degree. And again, a student who wanted just the power plant certificate could just take these courses and meet the requirements for this certificate. Students doing the entire AAS program would receive this certificate as part of that journey through that curricular path. And we recommend approval.
Any questions? Entertain a motion to approve the new power plant certificate, 7E. Thank you.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Pass. We will move on to 7F. Again, Dr. Ayler, the new medical billing and coding certificate.
Okay, this is a new certificate that's in response to requests from the industry for specific training for people in medical billing and coding. The cost to the institution to develop the coursework, there are 6 courses that would need to be developed. The cost would be about $17,808 to do that. There are average Colorado job postings of 4,273 with a average monthly hire of 3,964. So this is an in-demand field that we need this for medical community workforce. We're looking at a headcount year 1 of 15, year 2, 20, at year 3, 20, and year 4, 30, as we would ramp this program up. It is 25 credits. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve 7F. Approval of the creation of the medical billing and coding certificate.
I make a motion to approve 7F, the medical billing and coding program.
Second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 7F passes. Move on to 7G, again with Dr. Ayler, sunset of media writing, Associate of Applied Science degree.
Okay, thank you. In this particular proposal, the advisory committee for journalism and mass media, communication media, recommended some restructuring within the curriculum. And so there's a new emphasis in journalism and media creation, which makes this communication media writing a degree that we no longer wish to offer. So we would like to archive that and offer the new version of this.
Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 7G, sunset of the media writing AAS degree. There a second?
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next action item 7H, sunset of the flight instructor rating airplane certification. Dr. Ayler?
Thank you. This certificate is not really in alignment with federal requirements and overlaps with the current certificate of flight instructor airplane academic certificate. So again, this is not one that anybody should be wanting to get because it's not the right certificate. So we would like to archive this and take it off the books.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve 7H, sunset of the flight instructor rating airplane certification. Thank you. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's your show today, Dr. Ayler. Next up is 7I, sunset of the multi-engine airplane certification.
Similarly, the multi-engine airplane academic certificate is one that we want to archive and take off the books. It overlaps with the multi-engine rating airplane academic certificate, which is the one that's currently aligned with federal regulations. So we recommend archiving this certificate.
Any questions? I'd ask for a motion for 7I, sunset of the multi-engine airplane certification. Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And 7J, sunset of the single engine airplane certification. Dr. Ayler.
And this is the one you've been waiting for, the final one in the academic affairs group. Similar to the two we just did, the single engine airplane academic certificate is one we wish to no longer offer. It's not in alignment with current FAA certifications. and it overlaps with the commercial airplane academic certificate.
Any questions? Last hurrah. Who's going to make this motion? Thank you.
And I second it.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ayler.
Thank you very much.
Next, we will move into section 8, information items, and Jerry Harvey, our board liaison, will take us through this one.
Thank you, Chair Schock. First off, I wanted to cover the calendar of events coming up for the rest of the semester. You'll note in your packet, these are all celebration week items around commencement for the fall commencement in December. We have the academic honors ceremony, the graduate dinner, of course, the December Board of Trustees meeting on December 11th, commencement on the 13th, and then the Police and Fire Academy graduations on December 14th. As far as those who are attending, you'll notice this is a little bit out of date. I've gotten some more RSVPs since the packet was published, but any questions or concerns about the calendar before I move to the next piece? Right, next is our annual calendar, just looking ahead to the December board meeting. You'll see all of the annual items that will be coming up in December. I won't highlight all of them, but I'll highlight a couple. The work session will be the tuition presentation from Chuck. And we've got the certification of property and tax valuation during the meeting for action. And of course, some sabbatical requests as well for action in December, along with a number of other items listed there. And we'll certainly be happy to answer any questions on that item as well.
Any questions for Jerry? I don't think so. Thank you. Next up, we have 8B, the ACCT annual conference takeaways. And I would ask those of us who attended if you have any takeaways or any comments to make around the conference, and talk a little bit about what we came back with. You want to start, Trustee Wendell?
First off, I want to thank Ames in allowing us to go to this conference. Every year it's, you learn something. It's always engaging and stimulating and exciting to meet new people and see what people are talking about. I picked, I'll do it really quick. I picked a few sessions to go to without realizing they're kind of building on each other, which is great. And really quick, Coconino, is that how I pronounce it? Okay, community college in Arizona. Someone had given them $50 about 8 to 10 years ago, and all of a sudden came back with a $4 million donation. And the 4 years they wanted to be spent over 4 years, and it was primarily to develop and implement a program to bring more male students back into the community college, as it's been decreasing nationwide. And so they talked a little bit about what they're doing, and a lot of it stemmed from a lot of academic coaches going into high schools and trying to grab hold of the students that had no idea that they would even or could even go to college. The high school counselors are busy with the ones that already know. And so I thought that was really interesting. And then they had other focuses as well. Another one was another community college with George Mason and University, which was kind of interesting. And their concept was to increase enrollment overall, but especially with males and the retention and graduation rates. And they had developed a program similar to Ames to UNC. But there was a one-stop application. And once you filled out the application and you were approved to be duly enrolled in the community college and the university. And it was a specific amount of programs, maybe 5 different programs. And they had it all laid out. And so they would leave with an associate's and then continue to George Mason with the list of classes to take. And it seemed like most of them graduated a semester earlier than all the other 4-year students. And the male graduation rate was like 51% 1% and the female was 49. So it was interesting how they were doing that. And they had two things. They had a transfer pathway. So they had and peer coaches. They had just, it was all about support services on how to get them from point A to point B all the way around. And I know Ames to UNC does that as well. And for what it's worth, I also went to a risk management for fiscal responsibilities. Since I'm the treasurer of the board, I thought I should go. And primarily their focus was on internal and external audits. And I know Ames is doing a really good job on that. And we are right now doing our external audits. But it was a great conference, and thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else? Jean?
I just wanted to mention that I've had the good fortune of attending a number of these conferences, having been on the board for 7 years, and it is consistent in most in all of them that I've attended when they talk about some of the issues that they're struggling with, some of their new programs. Ames Community College is either ahead of most of the presentations that I heard, or at least equal to what is happening in some of the best community colleges across the country. So my point is, we're very fortunate to be working with and associated with Ames Community College. But also, I wanted to mention the engineering technology program that I heard about, and I did forward that information to Dr. Rothmer. It sounds exciting, and I think is something that Ames, should at least look at and find out what the need might be in our area of the country. But it was well presented from the Phoenix area, the Maricopa County Community College. So it was a good experience. It's always nice to get a chance to spend some time with the other trustees and get to know each other better. So in my mind, it was a very good conference.
Thank you. Trustee Wendell? So I guess Trustee Trustwell.
Yeah, I kind of have 5 takeaways. One was, first of all, thank you, because it was just really good to be around fellow trustees and hear about all that they were doing. But I guess one of the ones I was really proud of was that Ames actually presented one of the workshops. And Mr. Harvey, thank you for all you did to organize us, certainly. And we had a great crowd. And I think every one of the trustees, we gave a great perspective because, we had trustees that were on from 7 years ago and all the way to first year. But anyways, I was really honored to be a part of that panel and proud of Ames. So I think that was a big takeaway. And we had lots of people in the room, so that was great. But thank you, Mr. Harvey, for all you did to put that together. I attended, a half day kind of pre-session, and then several workshops on governance and advocacy and all of that. And so certainly some new perspective and talking to the fellow trustees was positive. So that was good. I think probably the other highlight was spending time to kind of build the trustee team, to get to know each other, from kind of a different perspective, more than 50 miles from home. So that was good. And then the reality is what Trustee O'Hara said is true. Every workshop, I did gain something from it, but the reality is Ames could have taught the class. And so that's the reality. So I felt very proud about that. But it is good to hear about, issues and problems and things people are facing but we really could have taught almost every class, it is my sense. And then, you know, the other was you come away from these conferences going, you know, there are good things happening out there. And so while we're not only proud of what we're doing right here in our corner of the world, it's really nice to see that there are others that are working hard to make the community college experience positive for the future of our nation. So that was really good. So those are some of my key takeaways.
Great. Thank you. I would echo most everybody's comments as well. I went to several different sessions, governance, advocacy. And I would echo the how far ahead Ames is in so many regards. And I think about how this college was set up, and occasionally we refer back to some of those founding principles and documents. And I will tell you that foundation is so strong in where we are today, and thankful for that. I did go to a couple sessions that I found interesting around the students of today, a session that was called the Agile Brain, and really talking about how we address some of the needs of students today and the anxious generation, and really about how do we continue to work with the inclusivity behind that, and a much broader definition around inclusivity, and particularly around student life. And so when we had the SACE presentation and really linking some of that, I think it states a lot of where we're, you know, we talk about skating to where the puck's going. And I think, again, today, with a very different need amongst student population and what we're providing. I also went to a session on, actually 2 sessions on basically president-CEO relationships and how do you recruit and retain. And the reason I went to that is there was something that really piqued my interest is there are a lot of colleges, community colleges, seeking presidents and CEOs and the numbers. And so really talking about how do you meet the needs of the person that you have, how do you move through that process. And again, I think the process here, while I have not gone through any of the pieces, I think the retention is very important in working together as well. And so I appreciated that. And then I'll just echo, thanks, Jerry, for pulling us all together. I thought our session went well, and a lot of subsequent questions around it. I think as we've continued to evolve and really with your direction, I think that was valuable information. So thank you for allowing me to go and really broaden my knowledge and a little bit of my confidence in some of the areas as well. So Jerry, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sure. Yeah, I would just echo the sentiments really already discussed. It was a great opportunity to be able to go and network with fellow board liaisons from across the country. It's a great time once a year to be able to really kind of see what other folks are doing and kind of get that perspective. Similar to what everybody else has mentioned already, it's always nice to see when you come back from one of those events that how far ahead we are at Ames and what good fortune we have here at Ames, not dealing with the issues maybe that other places are dealing with. So that always feels good. And I would also say thank you all so much for the great work you all did in the panel. I think it was a really successful panel. It was a great opportunity to be able to talk through our process and showcase our process for trustee onboarding. Got a lot of questions there the day of, and plenty of emails afterward also to ask for those templates and ask follow-up questions too. So that felt really nice and rewarding too. So, and just as a reminder for the folks who haven't gotten me your receipts, please do that so you can get reimbursed.
Great. Okay, any other comments? We'll move into number 9, our CEO President's Report with Dr. Rothberg.
Thank you, Chair Schock, members of the board. We have 3 annual reports for November. The first one is the Employee Services Annual Report by Dee Schultz, our Chief Human Resources Officer of Employee Services.
Good afternoon, trustees, Chair Schock and Dr. Rothermer. In your packet, you have the Employee Services Annual Report, and I'll provide some highlights on each of those pages. On page 1 of the annual report, it gives you a highlight of the departments and functional duties under Employee Services. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the leads of these areas. Angie Summers, Staff Executive. George Belinsky, Director of Human Resources. John Boltz, Director of Campus Safety and Security. Janelle Wild, Director of Employee Relations. Jan Cope, Program Director of Center for Professional Development. And Jill Beck, Title IX Coordinator and Compliance Manager. I want to thank them for all the work they put into ensuring a positive and safe working and learning environment for employees, students, and visitors. And we wouldn't be successful in our work without the teams in each of these areas and the ongoing support of other departments we work with on a daily basis. So thank you all for your dedication and being all in. Thank you. The data provided on page 2 and 3 is similar to what you have received in the past and is fairly easy to follow. However, I do have a few highlights. This data reflects a one-time snapshot, allowing us to compare from one year to the next. Last year's employee headcount was 1,265, and this year's headcount is 1,334. Showing an increase of 28 full-time positions and 41 part-time positions for this past year. Please keep in mind that these numbers are reflective of filled positions on a specific date. In order to obtain the demographic data, as positions become vacant or filled, these numbers change. There are not significant changes with gender, age, tenure, and ethnicity numbers. Ames turnover continues to come down from just under 10% last year to 7% this year, well below the industry rates. So we're really glad that that number is trending in the right direction. Earlier this year, in January, we completed an employee engagement survey, and the results showed that we are strong in areas where employees feel they are valued through fairness of pay, benefits, work-life flexibility, they are enabled to grow, and they are respected and supported specifically by their immediate supervisor. These are some of the reasons employees are choosing to stay with Ames. And I think that we can all agree our students is our primary reason. On page 3, you have information on employee recruiting efforts and medical benefits offered. Pre-COVID, our applicant average pool size for full-time positions was holding at 25 to 30 with a range of 10 to 90 applicants in some pools. As you know, due to the pandemic, the workforce market has changed significantly for a number of reasons, impacting our ability to attract qualified applicants for employment. Our current applicant pool size is starting to recover from a record low of 8 last year and 7 the prior 2 years. So just imagine a pool of having only 7 or 8 applicants and a small number of those being qualified. To 12, so we're now up to 12, which is where we were 3 years ago. Again, another good number to see trending up. As part of our re-recruiting efforts, we track how many of our vacant full-time positions are filled by current employees who want a career move, yet want to stay with Ames. This year, 44% of our vacant full-time positions were filled by current employees, which include employees changing positions, part-time employees moving into full-time employment, and an added bonus, we continue to hire students into full-time positions. A few highlights on page 4 under employee health and wellness programs. Along with the events listed, we also host an annual health fair. Employees sign up to receive biometrics testing, get their blood pressure checked, and can opt in for a flu shot. The most recent event took place in September, and over 110 employees took advantage of this convenient on-site opportunity. An additional 7 flu shot clinics were held at all locations, and over 200 employees and students participated. Employees also take advantage of recognizing their fellow colleagues, which you heard from some of the folks earlier, throughout the year through the various recognition programs. This past year, over 200 employees and teams received a Ripple, and over 2,600 gems were awarded for employees recognized for going the extra mile. That is a lot of gratitude and recognition for employees by employees. Page 5 provides highlights under our professional development programs. And this year, we're highlighting our new Leadership Institute program, GROW, as you can see. GROW is getting ready for opportunities of work. GROW is a year-long leadership institute, and as quoted by Janelle Wild, none of us are the best leader we can ever hope to be. We still continue to grow and strengthen our roots. As leadership changes and evolves, so must the leader in me. Based on that theme, this program is designed for seasoned leaders as well as emerging leaders. And this year's program has a cohort of 32 employees consisting of staff, faculty, and administrators. There are 6 learning modules for this program. Each of these modules are 2 months long. They start with self-awareness, building a trust-based culture, giving and receiving feedback with emotional intelligence, essentials of employment law, and then career growth now and in the future. A unique aspect of this program is that each participant will work with a coach throughout the entire year. This will allow each participant to not only learn consistent practices in leadership, but also develop a plan for their individual goals with a focus on improving their strengths and recognize their areas of opportunities. So you've been provided the GROW program notebook, which you each have. You also have some trading cards, a pin, and some nice stickers. The notebook outlines the entire program for the year, and I think we did our job because when our participants, some of them that are here today, saw it and were a little overwhelmed at beginning, but once they mapped it out in their calendars, they've been doing well with the program. The trading cards have quotes on the outcomes of the program. So an example is self-discovery, enhance self-awareness, and boost self-confidence. So we have about 11 outcomes we're hoping to achieve with this program. And the display along the wall has additional program materials provided to the participants. Some of these materials are program requirements and some are optional. Our program began with a welcome event held this past August and will end with the graduation in August of 25. And then we're planning to select a new cohort that will start in this coming August. And so we've received some good feedback. We're currently in module 2. And so we've received some good feedback. We'll be collecting surveys throughout the program to ensure that we're meeting our goals as we go. I would like to recognize the Employee Services Committee members who have worked on putting this program together over the past 18 months to 2 years. Chair Janelle Wild, Jan Cope, Paul Bashline, Stephanie Ralston, Angie Summers, and Jill Beck. The impetus for this program came from the feedback from employees through the cabinet listening tours and various surveys. I would also like to thank Dr. Bornstein and cabinet for their support. Marcom, who assisted with the design. We just love our design, the GROW program. Marcom events team, facilities, the bistro, who help us with setup for the various grow events. And so that without all of their support, we wouldn't be able to make this happen. So along with this year-long program, we continue to provide ongoing professional development opportunities for employees through in-house training, professional development funds for staff to attend conferences and webinars. The Biz Library program provides ongoing on-demand courses, and we continue to provide tuition support for employees and their dependents. Moving along on page 6, a few highlights on compliance management and campus safety and security. Title IX is a federally mandated program for higher ed institutions. Under this program, all employees and students are required to participate in annual training, ensuring a working and learning environment is free of sex discrimination and sexual harassment. We also manage compliance under other federal laws such as Title VII and Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which protects employees and job applicants from discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. These are just the few programs where we manage compliance. Page 7 provides an overview of all the services provided by Campus Safety and Security by the numbers. Our goal is really to track these services that we provide, ranging from medical emergencies, campus-wide drills, to accident prevention strategies. And so that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? Thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you. Do you want me to?
I got it. Thank you, Dee. Next, I'd like to introduce John Foltz, our Director of Campus Safety and Security, to present this year's clarity report.
Good afternoon, Chair Schock, Dr. Rothmer, Board, Cabinet. Just real quick to go through this year's annual security report. Just a reminder, this is the 2024 report, but these are statistics from 2023. We always report a year after. So just real quick, a little history on the Clery report. If you're not familiar with that, the annual security report. The Clery report comes off of is named after a student named Jean Cleary, who was brutally raped and murdered in her dorm room at Lehigh University back in 1986. After doing an investigation, they found out that the school had quite a bit of history and of some crime that was going on over there that the parents were not aware of, students were not aware of. So after that, DOE came out and said that it was mandatory that all higher ed schools receiving financial support reported these crimes on an annual basis. As far as collecting the information that we collect, count, and classify crime reports and crime statistics for each campus location. So every campus location. So it's nice to have our SRO Deputy TJ back there with the Weld County Sheriff's Office, because since all of our campuses, with the exception of Loveland, fall inside that those parameters, we can pull all the statistics from Weld County Sheriff's Department. I collect those, and then the Loveland PD supplies us as well. We also track our campus alerts. So anytime we have a timely warning or emergency notification, I think the last one we had is when we had some stray dogs running across campus. So that's good if those are the only ones that we're sending right now. But those are things that we reported there, just so there's awareness on those. And then this report comes out every year, and we send a notification and email college-wide to all students and employees by October the 1st, no later than October the 1st every year. I also enter those statistics into a database, a federal database that I'm supplied every year to get to the DOE. So the criminal offenses, there are basically 8 types of criminal offenses that the DOE is expecting us to report, or we are mandated to report on. Here they are right here. I'm not going to just read them all, but you can see the pretty egregious ones that you would want to know there as a parent or you are sending a student to the campus if these are happening or are pretty regular on your campus. Also, we are required to report criminal offenses and any arrest or referrals that deal with alcohol violations, drug violations, or weapons violations. And I'll get into the alcohol violations here. I think the drug violations here in a while because those were reflective on my report this year. So this is a Cleary geography. This is how we report this on here. On campus would be considered anything that on any campus of our campus locations, any building or property owned or controlled by Ames. Our non-campus buildings or property are buildings that are owned or controlled by the college or a student organization that is officially recognized by institution. So our non-campus, I like to point out, would encompass ECA, also our students that were staying in the dorms for the Ames to UNC program. Any statistics on them that they get have to go through a formal process or get one of those violations, we report that. So I work closely with the UNC PD and their Cleary person at UNC to make sure we're reporting any kind of UNC violations. So the students that are found guilty have to go through their due process of UNC, and then they come over here and they go through the due process with the dean of students here and myself. Public property, that would just be suppose there was something tragic or something happening right across the street at one of the apartments or something like that, or something across the street from our campus. What Cleary defines as sidewalk, street, sidewalk. Don't ask me where they got that definition from, but that's what we're required to report. So when I pull the information from the local police departments, that's the information I'm asking for. Not anything that just happened on our campus, but it happened from sidewalk, street, sidewalk next to our campus in that radius. As part of the VAWA, which is the Violence Against Women Act that was passed in 2013, we're also obligated to work closely with our Title IX office, with Jill Beck's office, to report any kind of domestic violence, dating violence. Anything that falls into that category must be reported on the Cleary report as well. So you can see right here, this is the annual statistics report, and this includes all campuses. Not happy about the 10. That's my almost 11 years here. That's the highest number I've ever had to put on there. But you can see, I think I was talking to Dr. Rothermer that put that out. This has nothing to do with our liquor license on the Greeley campus. They had to happen. The drug violations were actually mainly from our ECA. We had a big trend over there of a lot of vaping in the bathrooms. So I worked closely with the security over there, and we actually have sensors in the bathrooms now, vaping sensors in there. And would you know, we haven't had a report in probably over a year. But I also want to point out real quick, and I told the dean of students, because each one of those 10, we had to have we had a meeting, myself and the dean of students. We meet with the students on those. And one of the students, I'll just point out that the numbers are there, but I want to tell you a little context behind the numbers. One of the students that we did meet with, who was guilty of smoking marijuana in the bathroom, she was actually working a 40-hour job because her mom had been in a car accident. So she was working a 40-hour job, trying to finish her high school diploma, and she was so stressed out. She was like, this is the only way I get through the day. So we were actually able to talk to her, put her in line with some resources and get her some assistance. Even though it's reflective on there, those are the stories that these numbers don't tell. And then some of those are just the Ames, the UNC, and the dorms. And I think we all know why Ames doesn't have dorms, and hopefully Mike never puts them on this campus. And then the liquor violation was just the one there. And then I think we had the 3 of the motor vehicle theft, where we went to UNC and Ames, and in the Weld County area, there was a big uproar of auto thefts across the Weld County and across the state of Colorado. And we did have a couple there. We have took some measures to rectify that, and we haven't had any issues for a while now. So those are just the 2023 stats, like I said, and 2024, you will not see that 10 unless things drastically change here in the next couple of months. Other than that, that's my report. Do I have any questions?
Questions? Thank you for a great report.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
You'll see most of my team back here. I wanted to point them out, including Les, who's sitting over here, who took a whole summer to set up our database to put this all together, to collect a lot of this data, and David Vogel, who collects the data and puts it all together and shoves it into the report where I can take it over to Dee and get it approved so I can present it to you. So thank you for allowing me to present that to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our final annual report for November is our Ames to UNC report. And I'd like to reintroduce Dr. Larry Pikowski, our Vice President of Student Engagement, Inclusion, and Success.
Good afternoon again. Before I begin, I was asked to provide a little bit of an update on enrollment. So before I jump into Ames to UNC, I want to give you a really high-level update on where we are in enrollment for this fall. So the college, and I will say, as I saw these numbers over the summer, it was like, is something wrong? Did we change something? Our head count right now maintains a positive increase of just over 20%. And our FTE, or full-time equivalent, is just under 20%. So certainly that is a tremendous kudos to everyone at this college, faculty, staff, administrators, for all their hard work. It's the highest of any place I've ever worked at any point. One thing I would like to highlight with that is that when we drill in just a little bit, one of the things of note is that our in-district enrollment is also increasing kind of on par with that. It's up about 23% this semester, and certainly what we'd want to see. And then in terms of the types of students, the two that jump out to me, one, our transfer student number is up over 40%. And the one that absolutely thrills me is that our previous high school concurrent, so there are folks that were concurrently enrolled, graduated from high school, then came to Ames, that number is up about 36%. So that means that some of the things we're doing to try to get our concurrent enrollment students to choose to continue with Ames appear to be working. So just wanted to provide very high level, that's where we're at. Certainly, again, kudos to all of our teams for all the hard work they've done to contribute to get us to that point. Any questions about that before I jump in here? All right. So Ames to UNC. Ames to UNC, just to remind everybody, started as a strategy in the 2018 to 2023 strategic plan. I did get a couple of data points this morning that are not in here, so I'm going to tell you now. We currently have 301 participants at Ames that are in the program, and another 153 who have transitioned to UNC and are currently up the road at the University of Northern Colorado. One of the interesting tidbits as well, we have 8 students who have gone through the Ames to UNC program, earned a bachelor's degree at UNC, and are now enrolled in graduate coursework at UNC. So they are continuing beyond their bachelor's, now pursuing a master's degree or other graduate program there. Before I jump into the presentation, I do want to also recognize our team. So I'd ask if these people could stand up and wave to us. We have Rachel Veretto, who's our program director for the Transition Center, Steve Mitchell, who is our Ames to UNC program coordinator, and then Andrew Smith and Seda Quist, who are both of our success coaches for the Ames to UNC program. So this is the mighty foursome, if you will, that is directly responsible for the success of this program. So thus far, since inception, we have had 1,307 students apply to the Ames to UNC program. Approximately 1,060 have been deemed eligible to participate, and 906 of those have since been admitted to the program, representing an admission rate of about 70%. The most popular transfer majors at UNC have been pretty consistent throughout the life of the program: liberal arts, psychology, business, and elementary education. The student could potentially apply to the program and not be admitted. Just to give you an idea of why that happens, they could have a hold either at Ames or at UNC. They could have an ineligible program of study. So for instance, they may be pursuing a CTE program at Ames that there's no equivalent for them to then study at UNC. And then certainly the reason why some folks may not be admitted that are deemed eligible, they just don't follow through on all the steps in the process. In terms of participant data by year, you'll see here The applications are the red bar, those that are eligible are the black bar, the gray bar is then those that are actually admitted. So when you look at that, I will note that the academic year 25, where we are right now, is as of last month. So we're only 3 months into the process. Our goal for the year is to increase 20% over last year. We feel pretty good about where we're sitting right now as of October to get to that number. And the goal really is that each year we're seeing more applicants, then more students eligible, and ultimately more people admitted to Ames to UNC. One of the really hallmarks of this program is that we've seen a number of different things regarding demographics. You'll see when we look at this, and I know it's really busy because there's a lot of things here. The red bar is the average, but then we have data from the previous academic years as well. Ames to UNC truly is serving underrepresented students. It's truly serving female students, those that are Pell eligible, our first generation students, those that are in district. When the program was designed, we specifically had in mind making sure that we were being attentive to these areas. And thus far, the data is proving that the program is doing just that. Just throw in a quote right quick. This is from Patience Cruz. Patience was a fall 2022 graduate from Ames and then transitioned to Ames to UNC. Patience said that the Ames to UNC program not only helped me set up for success both at Ames and UNC, but it also helped me realize a future I had once I believed to be out of reach. Being a first-gen student, I wasn't sure how to navigate college, let alone the application process or financial aid. The advisors with the Ames to UNC program were there to assist me every step of the way. To give you an idea of how the students in the program perform here at Ames, 90% of Ames to UNC participants have been retained to their second term. 73% of those participants were then retained to their second year. The average GPA for our participants while at Ames is a 3.12, and the average credit load is just over 10 credits per term. When you look at that, the Ames to UNC participants have been retained in our enrollment data at higher rates than non-participants in the program. On average, you would find the same to be true with the average GPA and credit load as well. In terms of that performance over time, when you look at this one, you have retention term to term in the top left, retention after 1 year in the top right, and on the bottom left, the average GPA and the average credit load by term. I will point out again, academic year 2024, we're in that right now. But you'll see that our retention's been fairly consistent. There is the outlier the very first year there. That's when we had a very small number of participants when we were starting. Same thing with the year-to-year retention, but we've been pretty consistent there. Our average GPA, again, has eclipsed the 3.0 mark, and then our average credits per term has consistently been right around 10 credits per term or so. To date, 314 Ames to UNC participants have been awarded over $307,000 in scholarships while at Ames. So this is before their transition. This is what they're receiving during their first 2 years with us here at Ames. In terms of progress, we now have 357 Ames to UNC participants that have earned 386 credentials at Ames. Keep in mind, we may have some students that earn a certificate or 2 different degrees, things like that. That's why those numbers are a little bit different. 242 Ames to UNC participants historically have now transitioned to UNC. Then starting in the fall of 2023, UNC began enrolling a larger number of students through Ames to UNC compared to the traditional transfer pathway with Ames. So at this point, more students transfer from Ames to UNC through this program than outside of the program. And then 72 of our participants have gone on to now graduate from UNC with their degree. And then apparently 8 of those are now in graduate programs there. In terms of transitions per year, you'll see last year we really ramped things up. 79 students transitioned from Ames to UNC. This year, as of October, we're already seeing 57, so that growth is continuing. Again, the program's being very successful, and at this point, there's more students going through this program to get to UNC than not. Another one of our students that went through the program graduated back in May, Denise Prado. She said, after transferring to UNC, I immediately felt so involved because of the opportunities Ames to UNC had brought to me. If I could be in a program like Ames to UNC again, I definitely would do it. I was able to grow and learn so much from just being in this program. The dedication of staff at Ames to UNC is truly amazing and has helped me flourish in so many areas of my life. I am forever grateful for the program and staff that have given me so many success tools. So how do they do once they get to UNC? 80% retention rate at UNC. 5.3 is the average number of semesters that are taken to graduate with a bachelor's degree. Keep in mind that that should be right on par. And then 6.1 is the average number for a non-UNC, an Ames to UNC participant. 17 of our participants were also accepted into the initial cohort of the Reicher Bridge Scholars Program. So that's certainly a prestigious honor as well. And since fall of 2020, 22 participants have been accepted into UNC's Reicher's program, receiving scholarships of up to $15,000 annually. And then 12 of them have been accepted into UNC's Stryker Institute for Leadership Development, receiving up to $7,500 annually. So our students are doing quite well once they go up the road to UNC as well. A last quote for you. This is E.G. Gwadnu. He is a current student that plans to graduate in May of 2025. He says that Ames to UNC has been a transformative program for me here at Ames. When I first arrived in Greeley, my aspirations were set on UNC. And now, thanks to Ames to UNC, that goal is within reach. The program has provided me with invaluable resources, encouragement to think bigger, and the support that I need to succeed academically. It's been a game changer. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
Great presentation, and I think this is great. It's just perfect. Do you have any data on, gonna say male and females going from the program?
We can get that for you, absolutely.
I think it'd be interesting just because of what I learned at the conference. But I think they had certain programs that maybe male students might be more interested in. So I think that's why their numbers went up, but congratulations. This is great. Well earned for everyone.
We'll certainly get that for you. And while I'm thinking about it, you referenced George Mason, and only because Dr. B would probably like smack me if I didn't say it. We are a true transition program as well. So our students are admitted to both Ames and UNC from the onset as well. It is not a transfer program, it's a transition program.
Thank you, Dr. Kowski.
Thank you.
And do we have any supervisors that would like to introduce new team members?
Greetings, Chair Schock, Dr. Rothmer, and Board of Trustees. I'm Rhonda Johnson, Director of IT Networks, Infrastructure, and Communication Systems at Ames. I would have the pleasure of introducing Robert McHatton. He's our new network administrator. Rob comes to us with extensive networking experience and a background in several Department of Defense jobs, and we're delighted to have him on our team here at IT.
Thank you, Rhonda, and welcome. Chair Schock, that concludes the president's report.
Great, thank you. As we're wrapping up today, are there any comments regarding Ames or future topics that you'd like to make? Trustee Hagley?
You know, it's always nice to see the wonderful things that are in the paper. Ames to UNC was one of them, but quarterly Lou Chartier is always writing on behalf the wellness of the people in Northern Colorado and Greeley. And I just appreciate anytime people from Ames are in the community and representing our institution to the manner that they do. And everybody should be very proud that they are an aardvark. And I just think it's great that he participates quarterly. So thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Great. Just I just want to again say thank you to everybody that all the hard work that you've all put into making today possible. It's really evident that everything we do here is well thought out. A lot of time and collaboration goes into it, and I just want to thank everyone.
And I just want to say, and once again, exactly what you said. Thank you for all the hard work. And Mr. Jensen for always doing a great job presenting stuff to us. But it's interesting. I've been here for 5 years, still feels like yesterday. But I remember us trying to increase enrollment and how everyone's been working so hard and diligently, and to know that everything is increasing from enrollment here and also the Ames to UNC improvement. I mean, you guys are working really hard and it's paying off. So I think the recognition of 5 years of work is paying off. So thank you.
Trustee O'Hare, did you have anything to add? I always find it funny. We all look to the ceiling when you hear for that. I watched everybody look up. I'll just add, thanks to the board. Thank you for always being prepared and really taking interest and passion in what we do as a board. But to the college, the cabinet, the staff, faculty, everything that you do, meetings like this are pretty robust. There's a lot of information and the community is very lucky to have the team that it does. So thank you. As we're reaching the end of the meeting, we always take a moment for self-assessment and accountability. So are there any things that that worked well today, or things that we need to improve? Trustee Lindo.
Everything went well. I just like to give it a shot. And this is a very nice presentation. I mean, we have to recognize the hard work of laying it out, and I appreciate you introducing the program to us.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
For a second. Second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.